because
Yep.
for obvious reasons. So fortunately, I have this office with a door that I can shut, which makes a big difference for working from home, because I know so many people are trying to work at their dining room tables and their living rooms, and it's nice to have a space to just go in and shut the door. Our
Yeah.
office space, though, is really great space because we've got the old Alchemy restaurant space downtown.
Oh, good.
Yeah. We'll bring that up once we get.
I got it. Yeah, I got it, guys. I just have to make sure it's not. I just have to change the copy.
So I still go in there every once in a while like I have to go in there this morning to grab some things. So we just all kind of stagger our time so that we try not to be there together.
Yep. It's the new norm.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we are live right now. I just have to edit the thing if I can. Well, it's not gonna let me edit it. I have the title is the title's wrong, but I'll just have to I'll just have to go back in and do that afterwards. Good morning. It's Gloucestercast 406. It's not with Scottie, Matt, Chris McCarthy, Celena, Welenc, and Joey Ciaramitaro. It is actually with Pat and Jimmy Dalpiaz, and we have Corinne from Backyard Growers, and we have Susan Quaitman coming on with Les Bartlett in the next segment. Corinne from Backyard Growers, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. You wanted to speak today about the things that are happening with Backyard Growers.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, we've been, like so many organizations, doing just a ton of pivoting in a short period of time. So normally this time of year is obviously a huge kickoff time for the season for us. And so normally we would have done a lot of in-person workshops, gatherings, getting people together from community programs to kind of kick off the growing season. So we would have had in our new office space, which we've been in since last summer, which is the old Alchemy restaurant right on Duncan Street, which is a great meeting space.
Nice spot.
Yeah, it's an awesome spot. We're super lucky. So we've just done a lot of, so I manage our community programs and our school programs. So on our community program side, we've kind of spent a lot of time just pivoting and trying to reimagine how we would have rolled out the start of the season in a more virtual world and contactless world, and also with kind of a renewed urgency around getting people access to food that they can grow, because obviously for so many, just going out to the grocery store is exposing them in unnecessary ways. So trying to be responsive to the conditions that we're all facing, but particularly for many, because we serve seniors, for example, who are stuck and isolated at home. So we have been able to continue to serve those folks and folks in our regular community programs in safe new ways that we've developed over the last few weeks. And then on our school program side, obviously the schools at first temporarily shut down and then have now shut down for the rest of the year. So reimagining how we might be able to still work with kids in the schools in different ways. And I can talk more about all of those.
I didn't. I am remiss to not start out the way we're supposed to start off when we have Gloucestercast virgins. We're supposed to ask you a question, and I'm deeply regret this for our viewership who rely on these
rely on some certainties in life.
They rely on these segments. So as a podcast virgin, we're asking you, what is your you have to put yourself in the mindset of a death row inmate, and
that's something I normally do at 8 a.m. But okay.
Well, for the sake of the show, we're going to ask you to put yourself in that mindset, and the warden comes to you. It's your last day, and he says, and it's going to be a two-part question. what would
I have
be?
to write this down.
No, it's very simple. You just have to use your brain. That's all you have to do is use your brain.
I can do it.
So if the warden comes to me, he says, "Your death. I'm going to get you your last death row sub." Do you know what a sub is? You from around here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Death row
You
sub.
sub like a substitute?
No, the sub that
No.
Like a sandwich.
Submarine sandwich.
Oh, a sub sandwich.
Sub.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
where would it be from, and what would
So
this?
not a grinder, not a
A grinder,
gotcha.
hoagie, hero.
No, I would call it
What-
a sub too. It's just not the mindset I was. Yeah.
Right. So what would your death row sub be from? And where would you get it from, and what would the order be?
Wow. Let's see. I think I would get a turkey with Swiss cheese, mayo, lettuce, tomato, pickles, extra pickles.
Mm.
Definitely extra pickles, vinegar, salt and pepper.
From
and where would you get that from?
from
And good question. There's actually a corner store right down the street from my house, that J&J's, that I'd probably just get it from.
J&J's. That's your spot.
Well, it's a spot.
All right. Well, that's okay. This is it, though. You're gonna die, and you can get it from anywhere, and not your sub. J&J's. So they must have good subs. All right. Now, the second part is your death row meal. Any restaurant, any meal. What would it be? But you have to name the restaurant and what you would order for your last meal.
Gosh. Okay. I would. I think I would order. This is a hard one. I would order a matriciana, like an Italian pasta dish. And truthfully, I haven't found the best version of it around here, but I know Toscana in Beverly, which is where I live, has great pasta, so I'd probably get it from there.
There you go.
Yep.
See, we got a new one. That's it. See, we should compile a list.
Yeah,
Pat.
you should.
We should go back and we should compile everybody's answers. The worst answer of all time. He still had. I don't know if it ever going to be topped. Was from our good friend James Eves when we asked him what his death row sub was in Gloucester, Mass, where all these incredible bakeries and delis are. He said Subway Italian.
Subway.
That's right.
Subway. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. But
Somebody, one of your friends brought up anything with rice because it lasts longer.
that was Greg Iacano, who did the restaurant relief fund, and he said, "I want a bucket of rice and a set of chopsticks because that would prolong it." I don't know if I like that idea because
would prolong the death.
Well, you're like that much more agony thinking about you're gonna die any minute, right? So the other so there's that. The other thing I wanted to speak about was because we talked about this. Pat brought up the bonds in the last a couple podcasts ago now. But the Best of North Shore Awards is ending on Friday, and we have a link at the top of Good Morning Gloucester. We really want to fill the winners circle with Gloucester and Cape Ann restaurants and services. So after the podcast, please go to the blog and vote for your favorite local places so they are recognized. Because really, when you think about it, these places north of Cape Ann and to the west of Cape Ann, is it really the North Shore? This is the heart of the North Shore. So really, we should take all the categories, in my opinion.
And it looks like a lot of people have taken advantage of that link that you posted at the top and hopefully done their voting. So that's awesome. Thank you, everybody.
I'm not sure if you can vote more than once. Do you know that, Pat? I'm not sure.
I haven't tried. I should. Yeah, I'll bet you can.
Some of those, a lot of those polling places, like especially on something like this, they really don't care if they actually encourage you to vote multiple times. And the reason why is because they just want clicks so that they can sell that to advertisers.
The traffic, yeah.
So,
We can repost that too.
Oh, there you go.
Like,
Very
yeah.
nice. So why don't we speak to some of the opportunities and how Backyard Growers has responded to the latest crisis and the stay-at-home order. Like, what are you guys doing for that?
So as you may have seen, we launched an online shop, which we never had before. So we've delivered over 1,000 items to help people grow at home to over 125 families on Cape Ann in the last 2.5 weeks.
What are some of the items?
So black earth compost, seeds. When we went into this crisis, seed companies had a run on seeds. So people kind of had this immediate scarcity mentality around what they might need to grow food for themselves. And so we, every year, as you might know, do a seed swap and seed exchange as part of our spring launch events. And so we decided instead we would try and get those resources out to people. We've created these really cool felt grow bags that we also delivered. This is an example of one with a bunch of different sizes so people could just grow regardless of whether they have a garden or.
What is that? Okay, why don't you explain the premise behind a grow bag? My dumb mind says seeds will grow in a felt bag. Is that it's as simple as that?
Seeds or plants, just like a container garden. Yep. So just, if you've
if you pour water in it, does it leak all over your desk, or does it have to be outside, or how does it work?
Outside. It's for outside. Yeah. Yep. So these are for outside. And they
can you hold it up a little bit so people can get an idea what it's like? Yeah. So, and it has a handle.
And this has 2 handles.
Yeah. So how many plants would that kind of sustain?
This is another version that we're about to distribute through the public schools, through the elementary schools.
That's very cool. How many plants would that sustain?
Depends what you plant, but that is just a smaller 3-gallon version, and then we have them that go all the way up to 15-gallon, which are bigger, so you can plant a bunch of different things.
Wow.
We're going to use these to distribute out to the second graders across the city of Gloucester to do this version of what we call salad days. Normally we would have in April worked with over 1,500 kids in Gloucester to plant lettuce seed. And then in June, we would have come back with all of those kids to do these big, huge harvest days, salad days, harvest days.
I remember.
Yeah.
Those are cool. That's cool.
So we're trying, that's one of the ways in which we're trying to resume some of those activities, but for kids to do at home. So they'll take these bags home and be able to plant lettuce at home and then work with their teachers on STEM units and other activities to kind of integrate what they can do at home now with these. But really, it's just a way for anyone to be able to grow veggies at home in a simple, portable, lightweight.
It's really a perfect opportunity for you to get the home growing audience more actively involved, which I know is one of your long-term goals as a group.
Yeah, I mean, we want to scale up access to healthy food through growing food, and we want to make that easy for people. And this is one of the new ways we're thinking of doing that, because not everybody owns their own home. Not everybody has a lot of space. Not everybody wants to or has the bandwidth to grow a lot of food. So if there are simple ways that we can make that happen for them.
My wife does a bang up job with I'm a freakish Weber grill collector, and she plants like someone correct me, is it herbs or herbs? How do you say it?
Herbs.
Oh
yeah, I mean, it depends where you live.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Herbs. So like if you go to the grocery store, and this is a recurring thing that I always seem to talk about because it drives me nuts. Like a recipe calls for say basil, and you get the dinky little package like this, and it's $4. And by the time you get done making this recipe, you could have gone out for dinner 2 times between like the little thing of basil, the little thing of thyme, these little weird ingredients that you need. That if you make them, if you grow this stuff at home, you really can save a lot of money, right?
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, I think that's part of the value we add, because it's not, like many things, gardening can be an experiment. So there is a degree of just experimenting to make sure that you have the right soil and that you have the right conditions and that you have tolerance for some things not growing the way you hoped they would. So a lot of what we try and do is just give people information and educate them about how to grow. And so those are the types of workshops we would have normally been doing in person that we've now just moved to a virtual format. So we're doing with our new gardeners virtual trainings every week, where folks either so we build backyard raised garden beds for low to moderate income seniors in Gloucester.
So are you going out to people's homes still and doing that?
We're an essential service. Mm-hmm. And so we're able to, with a pared down crew, go out and build, do site repair, do work in community gardens, using obviously precautions, wearing masks, wearing gloves, socially distancing, not going when other people are in those spaces. For the backyard garden program we're building, especially because we're building for seniors, they are in their homes if they're home, and we're outside safely from them. And so we're able to continue to do that work as an essential service. We just this weekend did a curbside pickup for community garden members in our programs to pick up the first wave of seedlings from us, and we opened that up to other members of the community to come and pre-purchase seedlings from Cedar Rock Nursery, so little veggie plants.
Cool.
And
Pat, can you do me a favor? Can you go to Good Morning Gloucester right now? I'm sorry for interrupting you. Get the title of this podcast from the Good Morning Gloucester feed that's there, and go and then bring it to the Facebook feed, and I know you can't correct the title in the feed, but you can put it into the notes, so into the comments, so people know who we're speaking with and stuff like that.
Yep.
I'm sorry about that. It's just we had a technical glitch and we didn't get to. So say I wanted to get started, what would be the steps that I would take to get involved?
That's what I was just going to ask.
To get involved with backyard growers?
Yeah. And getting, to grow if I wanted a bed, I wanted to start growing my own stuff, and I didn't have a Weber collection for my wife to put the stuff in. Well, what would they do?
So I think the best way to get involved would be to go onto our website, subscribe to our e-newsletter, find out what activities we've got coming up and workshops. We have this might be fun for people, gardening for the zombie apocalypse training coming up that Lara.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
What?
Brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant title. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you a Walking Dead fan?
No, I can't watch horror movies. It's not my thing.
Yeah, it's not my thing either, but my husband loves that show, and Lara LaBianca, who you know, is a big fan as well. So we're doing a gardening, zombie gardening for the apocalypse virtual training that anyone can sign up for. And essentially it's training people to grow efficiently and effectively in whatever space they've got. And because sometimes people grow things that take up a lot of space and they don't have a lot of space, and they can use that humor, because we can all use humor right now.
Absolutely, yeah.
And advice. We'll have another at the end of April. We'll have another seedling sale from Cedar Rock Nursery. And so probably in about 2 weeks, we'll announce what we've got available through that. And anyone in the public can go onto our online shop. Right now, I think it's about to be disabled if it's not already, because we're suspending the in-home deliveries we were doing for the month of April. And now we'll just probably switch to curbside pickup at the end of the month, so people can check that out and order. It's funny, we had So on Saturday, we had the curbside pickup. Maritime Gloucester was nice enough to allow us to use the loop in front of their space for the pickup.
They're great. Yeah. We just
They were
had Mike.
great.
We just had Mike DaCosta on yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that. And so we had all these people driving by shouting like, "You have tomatoes!" Everybody is anxious to get their warmer stuff, and definitely tomatoes. So we didn't have any tomatoes. That'll come at the end of May. So and then we have a strong partnership with Black Earth Compost, and they now build, they can either provide raised bed kits or raised beds that they'll install and fill with their raised bed soil blend mix. And so people can go on to their website, Black Earth Compost, and order raised beds through them. We have another initiative called Get a Garden, Give a Garden that we partner with Black Earth Compost, where you can get a raised bed through Black Earth and then donate an additional $500 and support someone in the community getting the same through us. So the purchase is made through Black Earth Compost, and then the $500 donation comes to backyard growers to support someone in the community who can't otherwise afford it to have a raised bed of their own in their backyard, and resources to wrap around that we provide.
And eat healthy. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Are you guys involved in the Black, what is it, Burnham's Field gardens at all?
Yeah, we manage those gardens too. So those are the biggest community gardens that we manage, and then we manage about 10 throughout the city. So Burnham's Field, there are 2 sides with community gardens there that we manage. And then at several Gloucester Housing Authority developments. So Riverdale, Willowwood, McPherson Park, Poplar Park. And then we manage gardens, as you probably know, at the Open Door Food Pantry, at Actions Shelter. So all of those spaces have kicked off, and we're working hard. And because we're an essential service, we can continue to do work in those spaces safely.
That's fantastic.
Felicia wants us to know that herbs are easy to grow and that they freeze well too, which I can attest to. Even I can grow herbs and have on occasion frozen them. So
Pat,
that works out well.
We're not talking about marijuana, Pat. We're talking about herbs that you can. I know this is a different show, Pat. This is a different show. This is the Do Good show, not the.
Sorry,
this isn't the
evening.
This isn't the evening show. This is the morning show, Pat. Jesus.
So you're doing these twice a day right now.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, people we like to have fun. A, B, people are tired of watching the news and COVID 24/7. And we're just trying to provide a little bit of humor, a little bit of
entertainment,
some hope, and some entertainment, and promoting of the awesome people that we have around in our community. And if we can put all those things together and put out a product, then that's what we're all about. The platform is here, so why wouldn't we use it? Someone like yourself, like Backyard Growers, you have X amount of people that follow your channel or whatever, your social media channels. Ours is probably 100 times that. So why wouldn't we have you on and let you leverage our channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
well, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea. So it's fantastic though. How about the website one more time?
Backyardgrowers.org is the website, and you can check out our e-newsletter. Lara is also doing a blog regularly with a lot of humor and sarcasm. Yeah.
Pat, she's going to say it. Can you write it down and do a feature about Lara's blog? Because I have to man this, and you'll be able to remember. Yep. I have a terrible memory. So
really?
Yeah, no, I don't know. Mine is really bad. But there's a lot going through this fat noggin of mine. So, Corinne, could you Pat, are you ready? Okay. Yeah. What's Lara's blog name?
It's just on our website, so it's just backyardgrowers.org.
Okay.
Yep. And then you'll see in the bottom of the homepage a link to the blog.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So the
Good.
latest one is about the zombie apocalypse garden training, which is next
Well, this sounds
Tuesday.
like
Yeah. So that one is next Tuesday. I think it's May 5th, from 9 to 10:30 in the morning. So
zombie
Fantastic.
apocalypse on Cinco de Mayo.
exactly.
Hey,
They can
oh wow.
do your podcast and then your show and then
Yeah.
jump into zombie.
Well, you know, you just reminded me of I didn't put together the whole Cinco de Mayo coming up, even though I should have.
Oh,
But when I did the podcast with Eric Lord and Ken Duckworth and Jamie Verga last night, and Eric from Machaca was talking about his margarita mix that they're packaging the margarita mix to sell. And I was like, "Oh Jesus! No wonder why he's selling out of it. Cinco de Mayo is
right.
Only in a couple of days." So
and what we're hoping for is that May the Force be with you day be our release day, and still doubtful, but maybe. Come on, don't kill it. Don't. No.
I have a pretty strong idea. It's going to be a couple weeks after that.
I know, but then it would be Cinco de Mayo, and that would be fun.
Well, we'll celebrate at home. So there's that.
I'll have to do a special show for that.
Wait, listen.
You may have to start drinking at 8 for that.
Well, you're talking to the professionals, right? Like, you know, well, Nicole Schraft and the Dalpiazes, they got that covered on the Good Morning. Right? What, Jim? Why are you shaking your head, Jimmy?
Because he lets us out of the cage, so we're allowed to, we're going right from the closet to go grab our drinks.
It's all good. Anyway, Corinne, thank you for joining us. We're gonna bring in Les Bartlett and Susan Quaitman from they have a special program coming up. So
Brent, thanks for all your work.
And say hi to Laura for us too.
I will. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
We'll see you. Take care.
Okay, take care.
Oh, she was fantastic, wasn't she?
That was awesome.
Oh, wonderful information.
I'm glad that she's helping out.
They do such good work getting it out there to everybody.
They have grown under Lara's stewardship, like leaps, like the trajectory of the people that they impact since they started is just like.
I know.
She is a force. Lara Laponicus, I think I said it right. Maybe I didn't, but is a force. She is short in stature and huge in like impact. Impact is she's wild.
You had her on the podcast, I believe, and I remember pretty well her segment.
Yeah. It's like, but every year it's like, there's like I didn't realize that they had fields basically at Open Door and all the old folks homes and stuff like that. Like every year they add on. It's like it's almost as if they don't do 20% more every single year of outreach and growth or plus like they're always on a trajectory of widening their scope, which is it's inspiring to.
Well, I remember they were helping kids, but it was nice to hear that they're helping all the senior citizens too, and all the people that need the older people. So that's great.
Well, I think Lara, when she started, I think I may be completely wrong, but I think that she their home is like right up the hill from the rum line there, and it's like it's very urban. But she's got a plot up there where she manages and she gets food for her household, which is fantastic. I have a couple of other things I wanted to mention. ABC Healthcare they are looking to pay people. They are hiring for people that are out of work. They want people to work. They are hiring home health aides, certified nursing assistants, nursing students, personal care aides, and homemakers. They have flexible schedules. You can work a schedule that meets your needs. They have competitive pay plus incentive pay. Right now they need workers. I have a link.
Yeah, I think they're They're looking to fill sooner than later,
Yeah,
I believe.
yeah. So if you are, I think this is my guess because I've spoken to some people that are essential workers and stuff, and because of the unemployment that is available to so many people, there are so many people that are opting not to work because they can get more money on unemployment. This is probably a good paying job. I'm not sure what they pay, but I'm assuming it's a good paying job. Um, so the link is in the show notes anyway, and actually I have it on Good Morning Gloucester. It's also on Cape Ann Wellness, www.capeannwellness.com. They put up a post yesterday. So there's that. And Pat, you wanted to mention, and I didn't know this, so this is good on you. The Gloucester 400. They're having what are they having? Why don't you explain?
They're having a Facebook Live event tomorrow night. Today's Tuesday, am I right?
Yeah.
Losing track.
All day.
Wednesday evening at 7, a Facebook Live event to launch their Gloucester 400 Stories project. I am sure that among the many, many people whose plans have been disrupted by this crisis, they are, scrambling as badly as anybody to try to refocus their efforts toward this upcoming event. So I'm going to join in and see what the deal is. They are looking for people to share stories about Gloucester people at any time in history, I believe. My own involvement with the Gloucester 400 got a little derailed with meetings being rescheduled. So I'm not in the loop right now, but I'm following it on Facebook. And I'm hoping to join the event Wednesday at 7 on Facebook for the Gloucester 400.
There you go. And did you give me a link to that? Is it in the show notes?
I think so, yeah. Okay. I should have.
All right. So tonight we have Harbor Master TJ Ciaramitaro with an E. I'm Ciaramitaro with an I. We have TJ, we have Joe Borland, and we have Chris McCarthy on at 6:00 tonight. We're going to do a live podcast. Tomorrow morning, Pat and Jimmy will be with me, and we have I think it's O'Malley School. We're going live at O'Malley School through Zoom with the program where they're doing they have all those 3D printers, and they're making actually
awesome
the masks. Awesome. So we're going to have them tomorrow morning at, I don't know if it's 8 or 8:30, but I'll put a notice on that. And then and then Thursday we have Warren Waugh, Karen Hansen, Drew Hale, and myself coming on. So that's going to be a lot of fun on Thursday. So
that's quite a lineup.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun, and I'll put the announcements up on with the times as it gets closer, like we've been doing, and I'll have fun.
In case you missed it last night, Joey, in a nutshell, tell them about last night's podcast. They got to go and check it out. But
last night, well, we've had some killer podcasts. We had Rob Bradford last week, from WEEI Sports Radio, and we had we had Paul D'Angelo, famous comedian, on a couple days ago. Last night we had we had famous Nicole Schraft and the Dalpiazes yesterday. Who else was with us? Who else was with us? Was that it? Who was the fourth?
Yeah.
Oh, it was from Maritime.
Oh yeah,
Mike DaCosta yesterday. Very famous. Wow. Very famous. And then
sorry.
He's fun. He's a lot of fun.
And then we had last night. Which I was really looking forward to, because I love chefs. Because chefs have stories. Like kitchens, restaurants have stories, right? So we had Ken Duckworth, Eric Lorden, and Eric Lorden from Passports, Ken Duckworth from Duckworths, and Jamie Verga from Cape Ann Brewing. Tremendous podcast. We had so much fun. So there's all that. We're gonna bring in our other guests if I can, right here. All right. I hope this works for me. Admit and close.
Okay, well, Joey's doing all that. One of my favorite part from last night's podcast was on. Oh, there she is. Hello.
Good morning.
Hey guys.
Hi.
How we doing, everybody? Susan, you have to turn on your audio. Maybe I have to do it from my end. Let's see. No. Les, can you hear us? Susan, is that you moving around?
This is me. Hello.
All right, you're with us. Les, is your audio on, Les? Not yet. He's having some difficulties turning his audio on. Well, let me see if I can. It doesn't say. Maybe he doesn't have a speaker or something like that.
Yes, he does.
A microphone.
He does.
Yeah. All right. I don't know if he can hear us. He's speaking. Anyway, so Susan Quaitman, you are here to speak about. You are here to speak about.
I'm here to speak about our event on May 1st. Leslie, can you hear us now?
I can. Good morning, Joe.
He's back. There you go, buddy. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining us, Les Bartlett.
Thank you, Joey.
Les Bartlett and Susan Quaitman. And you guys are here to speak about?
We're going to speak about the event on May 1st, which is our Zoom presentation on arts and climate change at noon through Zoom.
Fantastic. So I almost screwed up. Well, I did kind of screw up at the beginning with our first guest, but I won't screw up this time. So we have, neither of you guys have been on the podcast before. So we have a ritual of asking a couple of questions that we need very important answers to. So I'm going to start with Susan.
Yep.
And I don't know, did you hear the first segment?
I did not.
Okay.
I just subscribed to your podcast.
Oh, that's great. So here's the question. You have to put your mindset that you are on death row, and the warden comes in and he says, you have your option for, I'm going to get you a sub anywhere you'd like it. Where would you have him get the sub, and what would the order be?
Well, I have a question. Does it have to be a sub, or could it just be a sandwich?
It could be a sandwich, sure.
Great, because my favorite sandwich on Cape Ann is the Dogtown at Willow Rest.
Ooh, it's a good choice. You know what? Honorable mention. I'm going to say for Willow Rest would be the Cuban.
Yes, that's very good.
The Cuban. The Cuban sandwich at the Willow Rest is a 5-napkin sandwich easily, and it's worth every bit of the mess that you're going to.
It's a two-hander.
It's a two-hander. Les, what would your death row sub be?
It's going to sound like I'm copying Susan, but it would be the Dogtown at Willow Rest. Although I will admit that before Susan and I started working together, it was the Cuban, far away. And I would say it's a 6-napkin sandwich. Although even with the Dogtown, we know, you need a fork and knife with it too if you're going to eat it in.
Yeah. It's probably a better idea to use a fork and knife. Yeah, it would still taste just as good. You just avoid all things. All right, second question, and we're going to start with Les on this. So we'll go back to Susan. Death row meal. What restaurant and what dish at what restaurant? Your last meal.
Wow. Restaurant Feather and Wedge.
Excellent.
A red wine of their choice. Probably a flank steak, medium rare, with mashed potatoes and fresh asparagus.
Oh God,
Wow.
sounds good.
Can't go wrong with Feather and Wedge. We have to get them on. We haven't had them on for one of our chef segments. I have a couple people. Maybe Friday I'll invite them on. And Susan, how about you? Death row meal.
Well, it probably would be Duckworth's, a roast duck meal. And I can't remember all the sides, but like Leslie, I also love asparagus and roast potatoes, maybe some red cabbage to go with it.
Red cabbage, interesting. Well, there you go. All right. No, two tremendous all tremendous choices right there. I don't think anyone could. Hey, Pat, I don't know if you want to take this on, if you wanted to go back through all the podcasts and compile a list of everybody's death row subs and death row meals.
I can do, that's a great idea. I will do that.
If you're bored.
She'll do it, Joey. I guarantee it. Right there.
That would be fun. It'd be interesting to see how many people, because we get a recurring. Virgilio's is a recurring one, and Willow Rest is a recurring one. But I don't want to tilt people's suggestions, because I don't know if Les was going to go with the Willow Rest before Susan. Maybe he got tipped off. What do you think, Les?
Oh, no. I mean, whenever we've gone for extended walks or work on Cape Ann, our breathing space is the Dogtown from Willow Rest.
Ah, there you go.
And there's a real difference between eating in and taking it out. Okay, I mean, now it's takeout, obviously, but eating it in is always the best experience. You get to see other people, and there's always such a joy of people being around there, right?
Yeah, it's a very social place, and I love Melissa Donati. She's fabulous.
Me too.
Isn't she wonderful? So why don't we talk a little bit about what you guys what the Zoom meeting is to address climate change, art, insight, and community building. Why don't we talk about what you guys are going to be talking about and doing in this Zoom meeting on Friday?
Go ahead, Susan. You lead off.
Okay. Well, it's a talk about our 7-year journey together. Maybe you could call it a 14 artist year journey together, on looking and actually creating art and climate change. And the art is largely public art. It's art that goes into the landscape or into a public visitor center. And it's a combination of my silk paintings, Leslie's photographs, and often the images are actually collaged together.
Oh, wonderful. And Les, how did you guys get involved together, Les?
Well, it actually goes all the way back to 2007 when I had my show chapters at a Quarry Wall at the Cape Ann Museum. And during one of the open times, Susan Quaitman had 2 hours from her work schedule and came in to look at the work and signed the guest book and left. And 7 years later, she walked into my studio on Washington Street in Lanesville and said, I'm beginning this career as a silk painter, and I would really like you to photograph my work. And I was very full of myself, all right? I'd had great successes. And I said, not so politely, I said, go away. I can't be bothered with anybody else's art. And Susan persisted. I have to admit, for 7 years, I've always told this story. I said, get out of here. And I finally apologized to Susan saying, I was just full of myself. That's the fact. So she persisted. And she said, I want to go for a walk in the quarry. And we drove over to Flatledge Quarry in Rockport. We parked up off Quarry Road at the top of the quarry. And I guided her down 45 feet of scree, of hard scrabble that was like at a 50-degree angle, figuring if she could slide down and live, we would be walking together. I would be clear. So we walked into this amazing part of the quarry. And what we found was that we liked to walk slowly. We didn't need to walk and talk. We didn't need to walk with phones. And through this slow walking, we started to develop an art that encompassed my quarry work and her silk painting. Right, Susan?
Yeah, what happened, Joey, is that I loved Les's photographs of the quarries. And during those walks, I have a background as an environmental planner and as a landscape designer, but I hadn't looked at the landscape with the eyes of an artist and of a photographer. So Leslie would take photographs of different aspects of the quarry, such as the lichen on the rocks. He would print the photographs. I would take the photographs back to my studio. Then I was working at 10 Pound Studio, which Kate Seidman started on Center Street.
Yeah.
And I would paint quarries on silk.
I did a little piece on, I don't know if you were there when I went up there, but they were doing classes on like the second or third floor in up above Passports.
I remember now, about 10 years ago.
Yeah, We're gonna date ourselves here. Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, but that was a cool. That was a really cool space. You had beautiful light in that room.
It's a wonderful space, and unfortunately, I had to close it because of COVID-19.
No, that's too bad. Yeah. So, do you have any examples that you can hold up right now in your space right now?
I'll have to go get them.
That's okay. We can fill time. I'll talk to Les. I'll talk to Les for a little bit. So Les, what your eye and how you take photographs, the scale is something that I am not good at all. Like, and I don't know what kind of lenses you use or the perspective that you have, but you capture these really large scenes.
Yeah.
And
I can speak to that for you.
Could you? Yes, please. That's where I was going.
The background behind me is a 4-panel screen of one of my photographs. All right. I think it's perspective, because it's perspective that what allowed Susan's background to come in to play. And the perspective is, I would call it the grief of Cape Ann. And just as we grieve so much for the loss of so much of the fishing industry and the brothers who have lost their lives at sea, there is this lingering grief of what men, and it was mostly men, did to the landscape of Cape Ann, because quarries are not a natural event. Quarries are when men take all of the vegetation and the ledge away and they blast into the rock. It's as if open heart surgery was being done on Cape Ann with no anesthesia. And so for the men who worked in the quarries, for the men who came here from Italy, from Finland, stone was bread. It was simply their daily work. They didn't see it as beauty. They didn't discuss it as beauty. It was work. And what I dialed into with a perspective was a sense of, for Susan and I, we speak of the resilient landscape. We know human resilience, that there is of the spirit able to pick itself back up, but the landscape can do this, where the landscape sets a stage to continue. And so our 14 years of artistic collaboration has been to look at how has Cape Ann staged itself to be resilient. And there's some very specific areas that we've been able to work to. That's it, it's the perspective. The lens and the camera is irrelevant. That's like, for you going out to go fishing, you've got the right gear, but the focus isn't on the gear. The focus is on what you know and how you smell the weather and how you smell the ocean. So we've smelled out this topic of climate change on Cape Ann. Okay, Susan.
Okay, would you like to see some examples?
Would love to. Would love to. Thank you so much. What a lovely home Susan has with all those books. Isn't that pretty?
Oh, we moved here in 2018. We're up the road from Willow Rest.
Oh, there you go. Holly Street. Oh, wow. Look at that, huh?
This is a gyre. Do you know what a gyre is?
I don't. Why don't you explain it for our listeners?
It's an enormous accumulation of plastic waste in the ocean. I don't know if you see the bottles.
I see the bottles. I pick out the bottles. Yeah. I think there was an octopus in there, maybe.
Yeah. So it's a really horrible accumulation of garbage, and there are 8 gyres in the different oceans around the world. And I made this painting to raise awareness about the gyres.
Oh, you mean, so a gyre is one of the enormous, like, miles and miles of plastics that are going around, like almost like a whirlpool in the ocean. Like, aren't the majority of them like off the coast, like between Asia and the west coast of the United States and North America?
Pacific. A lot of this was from one in the Pacific.
Right.
One of the curious things about painting on silk is that you can create something about a really ugly topic like gyres, and because of the medium, it always looks beautiful.
Yes,
absolutely. Vibrant, and the colors, and
yes.
It is wonderful.
Yeah, I was going to say it looks so pretty, but now that I know it's what it is, I'm like trying to process it.
I want to
Right.
put yeah, but see, it's all perspective though, like Les said, right?
Right.
It's all
Yeah.
perspective. You have to look at look at it, step back. So what I can really relate to what Les said, because growing up in the fishing industry, right, at 9 years old down there with my grandfather, my father, my uncle, my cousin, and we offloaded, on days 100,000 pounds of fish. So we to and I so we were just trying to survive the day physically, sustain ourselves with food, water, or whatever, milk, whatever it was, and try to get whatever bits of rest we could to have our bodies not break down in those days, because we were handling so much fish. It was never ever in my life artistic. Okay, like driving where I grew up on off of Grapevine Road in East Gloucester, to drive to school every single day, or to go into town every single day, I drove past the back shore. Before I started the blog, I never looked at it like it was this beautiful thing. I didn't have perspective until I went to Bentley College, the concrete jungle that is Waltham, Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
Until I came back from that, I had no appreciation for how glorious a place the back shore is. And every single time when I wake up and I take that ride to work, or I go to wherever, it's a different color. It's a different scene. It's peach one day. It's purple the next day. It's gray the next day. There's big waves. It's every day. It's a different story. The fish today, and some of the scenes at the dock of the traps strewn in a pile back then, was never, like in the fishing gear, was never artistic. It was, the perspective was, it in our heads, it was work, and we just need to survive to the next day, to wake up and come back to work and do it all over again, the Groundhog Day. But now, doing the blog, having to create content on a daily basis to feed the beast, that the blog just keeps coming and coming, and the next day, if you don't have content, you widen your perspective. And even though my job is a lot less physically demanding, because there's no fish anymore, and there's a lot less fishing boats and a lot less effort.
Yeah.
But it's allowed me to open my perspective to the possibility of this, in my mind, work, to being this beautiful thing. But yeah. So let's see some more of Susan's work.
Yeah, talking about no more fish. This is a silk painting of smelt leaving the ocean, leaving the rivers. Can you see them? They become ghost fish.
Wow. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's really cool.
That's awesome.
That is beautiful.
So to continue from what you're saying, Joey, which is, I'm so glad this is being recorded, because that's an eloquent statement that you've just made of daily work versus art, or of art entering the picture. I mean, the original inhabitants of Cape Ann were farmers and fishermen. And it was only when intellectual people came to Cape Ann, particularly the founding of Rockport in 1840, that they came and said, look, don't turn the light out. I know you got to get up before dawn to go out to the ocean or to do your chores. Look how beautiful this is. And so the concept of beauty and being able to say I'm inspired by Cape Ann is a learned thing. People literally kept the kerosene lanterns on until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning to learn about looking at Cape Ann as being something beautiful. Right?
Can I bring it back to our work, Joey?
Absolutely, 100%.
Because what we seek to do by looking at climate change in an artistic way is to reach people in the gut and the heart, and to show the beauty and the ugliness at the same time. Mm-hmm. And it seems to work.
So
yeah,
the sentence that I was going to say, we've been accused of being yin and yang, okay, because of backgrounds being so different. So we will interrupt each other when we want to come back on target. I was giving the Cape Ann historian riff, which can go for hours, right? To bring it back to the SQ and LB artist collaboration, is that the projects that we're going to be talking through and reflecting on Friday are projects that relate to art in a public space, public art, right? it's not so much about galleried art and about my art or Susan's art or your art. It's how these pieces fit in a public space where other people are going to be looking at it. And these other people were very much interested in the challenge of something that will attract young people's eyes and be sensible enough to, Susan is a great champion at taking scientific research, which is always very specific, very detailed. They have a hard time explaining it to the commonplace. To be able to take that scientific data and distill it down so that it becomes art in silk and art collaged and combined together and put in a public place where the dailiness of people's lives, where they can see it going by or stop and see it and continue. And there's a very curious thing that happens. What's happened, how it's changed for us over time. Originally it was like, okay, here I am with my camera. Here's Susan with her silk painting. And we would have pieces. We had on Seeing a Granite Landscape that mirrored one another. Suddenly it became a case of how our views are clearly seen in a new piece, which is a collage. And some of the strongest emotional reactions have been pieces where people stand in front of it and say, I don't know what this is. This is something different. This is something new. And it's a combination of our work. So that's all good. That means we're right here, okay? We're public art in front of you.
Yeah.
And then a piece of work gets produced and work gets produced. On Friday, we're going to demonstrate the sequence of a piece that Susan did on the resilient landscape of Cape Ann at the club, and it was at the Clamola Reservation in Lanesville. And that piece of work went to Marblehead, it went to the Lanesville Community Center, and it traveled to Lee, New Hampshire to Bedrock Gardens. And in every case, it fit. It told the story. And if there's one line, the line I would say is that what our work is saying in regards to art and climate change on Cape Ann, this is a new line, Susan, okay, is wherever you go, you are Cape Ann. Whatever you say, you are Cape Ann. We are, after all, this petri dish of an island with so many enclaves and so many stories. And I was thinking, Susan, while you were going to get your silk is maybe one of the most beautiful masks that we can wear in the midst of this virus. And it's a very curious mask because it's not to keep the air out. It's allowed the breathing to come back into our heart and our soul, which is what you're talking
that's well said.
There you go. Okay.
Jesus Christ, this guy, he could be a Hallmark. With it. They got to get you in the hall, for Christ's sakes.
There we go.
I run into Les more times at Feather and Wedge. I don't know if there's been a time when I've gone to Feather and Wedge where he isn't sitting at the bar.
I told Susan it was a New Year's Eve, right? The last time we were there, a couple of years ago.
Yeah. That's our go-to spot for New Year's Eve. My wife and I, we love it there. The Lila and India and Charles and they're just such sweet people. Stephen, they are just such sweet people, and you go in there and you just feel at home. It's just a wonderful spot. They really created a beautiful space there. Big part of that space is your work. That large. Thing.
Yeah, but wait a minute. So time about. I was about to say you're giving a great quote. Or you're talking about being there in the warmth. It's like what I think our work ultimately wants to create. Because our climate change is a difficult topic. As Susan said, there are a lot of hard edges of what happens in the environment. And yet there is this amazing thing that beauty can be the way in to beauty and the beast, right?
Absolutely. So Susan, how many people, so how do you, I don't know if you don't, you may or may not want to disclose how this is going to be presented and what they're going to see. But do you want people to just show up, or do you want to explain what they're going to see?
Yeah, they're going to see 40 slides. It's a slide presentation representing our work since 2013.
Wonderful.
Oh, very nice.
40 slides, and are you going to be?
We'll narrate it.
We'll be narrating it.
And it's going to be moderated by a fellow Brit who you may know of, called Mary Jenkins.
Mary Jenkins.
She worked for the Mass Cultural Council for years. Oh, okay. She's really good.
What part of England did you come from?
I was born in Shrewsbury, which is on the border of Wales and England. And believe it or not, when I was young, I had a Welsh accent.
So what? Say, can you describe north, south, east, or west? Where
Oh,
is
it's
that?
in the Midland. It's in the Midlands.
The Midlands. Okay.
Yeah.
I went to Gloucester this past spring for the first time.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it?
It's very much like our Gloucester. It's kind of well, there's the hills, kind of like in where they do the cheese rolling, and then there's a very gritty downtown where there's artists and restaurants and and industrial spaces that is in the throes of a renaissance with creatives
Right.
rediscovering the space. It's really cool, really cool space. Really very friendly people.
Yeah, but I lived in London from the age of 6 till 24, and Leslie and I really are yin and yang, because I come from this very urban environment, and I'm trained as an environmental planner and a landscape designer. Came to America on scholarship to go to Cornell University, and I've been here since 1980.
1980.
Yeah.
You still retain that accent.
Yeah,
It's
I think
amazing.
it's because I was already grown up when I came here.
Oh, I get you. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
I imagine if I went someplace else, my terrible dropping of the R's would be would stick with me for a little while, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, there's what is the link? Did you provide us with a link where they can find it? Where they should tune in?
Well, you can go to our Facebook pages, and we've each posted the press release and then the link to sign up for the RSVP link to sign up for Zoom.
Okay, so the press release that you sent me on the PDF will have the link.
It has a link on it.
Could you put it up for the viewers?
I'm sorry?
Could you put up the poster and the link for the viewers?
I put up, Pat, did you put it up or I put? No, I put it up yesterday, and then I added Leslie's photos this morning. So it's already on the blog, but I don't know that there was a hyperlink, so I'll have to probably.
There is, yes.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. If there's a PDF image or an image that has a link on it, that you can't click on a picture and it bring you to a site. You have to have a hyperlink, like separate from that.
Email the link to you right after this.
You could either do that, or I could do the work for you. Yeah, if you do it, that'll make it easy for me. I could copy and paste it. So there you go. Well, thank you. Anything you want to add in closing?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. Thanks for the work you're doing, and we'll look forward to it on Friday. What time is it on Friday?
It's at noon. Bring a brown bag and join us at noon on Friday. It's actually May Day, and we call it May Day, May Day, May Day, because it's a sign of distress.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for showing. Pat and Jimmy Dalpiaz, Les Bartlett, and Susan Quitman. I'm Joey Ciaramitaro. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.